Have you ever sat down at the end of the day, feeling that familiar heaviness in your legs? Maybe your feet feel a little puffy, your hands are cold even when the room is warm, or you just feel that strange, sluggish tiredness that no amount of rest seems to fix. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are not alone. And more importantly, it is not something you simply have to live with. What most people don't realize is that a lot of those feelings, the cold hands, the swollen ankles, the afternoon fatigue, are connected to one thing: circulation. And here is the part that genuinely surprises people when they first hear it. What you eat for dinner, that one meal at the end of your day, can have a remarkable impact on how well your blood moves through your body while you sleep, and how you feel when you wake up the next morning. So today, we are going to talk about the best dinner choices for better circulation, specifically for people over 60, because as we age, our cardiovascular system needs a little extra love and attention. The foods we'll be discussing aren't expensive or hard to find. In fact, you've probably seen most of them at your local grocery store your entire life. The difference is knowing exactly why they matter and how to put them together in a way that truly works for your body. Now, before we get into the food, let's just take a moment to understand why circulation becomes such a big deal as we get older. When you were younger, your blood vessels were flexible, almost like brand new rubber bands. They expanded and contracted easily with every heartbeat, pushing blood smoothly to your heart, your brain, your legs, your fingertips. But over the decades, those vessels naturally become a little stiffer. Blood doesn't always flow as freely. And when circulation slows down, even just a little, your whole body feels it. Your muscles don't get oxygen as efficiently, which is why you might feel more tired. Your brain may not feel as sharp. Your body has a harder time regulating temperature, which explains those cold hands and feet. And your legs, especially in the evenings, may feel heavy or swollen because blood is pooling instead of returning upward the way it should. The good news is that food is genuinely one of the most powerful tools we have for keeping our circulation healthy at any age. Certain foods help relax blood vessel walls, reduce inflammation, prevent plaque buildup, and actually support the natural flexibility of your arteries. And dinner, in particular, is a wonderful opportunity because your body does a tremendous amount of repair and restoration during sleep, and what you feed it in those evening hours sets the stage for all of that healing. So let's start with one of the most powerful circulation foods that doesn't always get the credit it deserves, and that is beets. Yes, those deep red, earthy vegetables that you might have eaten as a child or seen pickled in a jar at the back of the pantry. Beets are genuinely extraordinary for your cardiovascular system, and the science behind it is fascinating. Beets are naturally rich in something called nitrates. Now, that word might sound a little chemical, but these are completely natural nitrates, the kind your body absolutely loves. When you eat beets, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide, and nitric oxide does something wonderful. It tells your blood vessel walls to relax and widen. When your vessels relax, blood flows more freely with less resistance. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard, and all of those small blood vessels in your feet, your hands, and your legs get the circulation they need. Several studies have shown that eating beets or drinking beet juice can actually lower blood pressure and improve blood flow, sometimes within just a few hours of eating them. For dinner, roasted beets are absolutely delicious. A little olive oil, a pinch of sea salt, maybe some fresh thyme, and they pair beautifully with other foods we'll talk about in just a moment. You can also add them to a simple salad or blend them into a warm soup. The key is making them a regular part of your evening meal, rather than a once-in-a-while treat. And speaking of things that pair beautifully with beets, let's talk about fatty fish, because this is one of the most important foods you can possibly have at your dinner table if circulation is something you care about. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout, these fish are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3s are like a deep conditioning treatment for your entire cardiovascular system. Here is what omega-3s actually do inside your body. They help reduce inflammation in the walls of your blood vessels. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the biggest contributors to poor circulation and arterial stiffness as we age, and omega-3s go to work directly on that problem. They also help reduce the stickiness of platelets, which means blood is less likely to clot and more likely to flow smoothly where it needs to go. And over time, they have been shown to help lower triglyceride levels and support healthy blood pressure. For dinner, salmon is perhaps the easiest and most versatile option. A simple baked salmon fillet with lemon, garlic, and a drizzle of olive oil takes about 20 minutes and tastes like something from a restaurant. If fresh salmon is outside your budget, canned salmon or sardines work just as well nutritionally, and they are remarkably affordable. Aim to have fatty fish for dinner 2 to 3 times a week, and you will be giving your circulation a real, meaningful boost. Now that we've introduced the power of beets and the incredible benefits of fatty fish, we're just getting started, because there are several more dinner staples that work together to create what I'd almost call a circulation-supporting meal plan. Let's keep going.
There is something almost magical about dark leafy greens, and if you are not already making them a regular part of your dinner, today is a wonderful day to start. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, these vegetables have been celebrated for centuries in cultures all around the world, and modern science has only confirmed what generations of grandmothers already knew. These greens are among the most circulation-friendly foods on the entire planet. Here is why they matter so much, especially for people over 60. Dark leafy greens are another excellent source of those natural dietary nitrates we talked about with beets, which means they also support the production of nitric oxide in your body, helping your blood vessels stay relaxed and open. But beyond that, they are rich in vitamin K, which plays a crucial role in keeping your arterial walls flexible and preventing calcium deposits from hardening your vessels over time. They are also packed with magnesium, a mineral that is deeply connected to healthy blood pressure and smooth muscle function in the walls of your arteries. What makes greens so powerful at dinner is how easy they are to prepare and how well they work alongside other circulation-supporting foods. A simple sauté of spinach or kale with a little olive oil and garlic takes less than 5 minutes. You can wilt them into soups, stir them into a warm grain bowl, or serve them as a side alongside your salmon or beets. The cooking actually makes certain nutrients, like the magnesium and nitrates, even more bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs them more easily. So do not worry that cooking your greens somehow reduces their value. A warm, gently cooked portion of spinach at dinner is doing tremendous good inside your body. One thing worth mentioning, if you are currently taking blood thinners, do speak with your doctor about how much vitamin K you are consuming, since it can interact with certain medications. But for most people, enjoying a generous portion of dark greens at dinner several times a week is one of the simplest and most effective things you can do for your cardiovascular health.
Now here is one that might make you smile, because it is something most of us already have sitting in our kitchens right now. Garlic. Humble, inexpensive, wonderfully fragrant garlic. And it turns out it is one of nature's most remarkable tools for keeping your blood flowing the way it should. Garlic contains a compound called allicin, which is released when you crush or chop a fresh garlic clove. Allicin has been studied extensively, and what researchers have found is genuinely impressive. It helps relax and dilate blood vessels, similar to the way nitric oxide does. It reduces inflammation in the arterial walls. It helps lower LDL cholesterol, the kind that can build up and narrow your blood vessels over time. And it has a mild blood thinning effect that helps keep circulation moving smoothly without the kind of excessive clotting that contributes to cardiovascular problems. For your dinner, the easiest way to get the benefits of garlic is simply to use it generously while cooking. Mince 2 or 3 cloves and let them sit for about 10 minutes before adding them to your pan. That resting period actually maximizes the formation of allicin. Then sauté your garlic in olive oil as a base for your greens, your fish, your soups, your roasted vegetables. It elevates the flavor of almost everything, and your circulation will thank you every single time. If you find raw or cooked garlic too strong on your stomach, aged garlic supplements are a well-researched alternative that many people tolerate very well. But honestly, for most people, simply cooking with fresh garlic 3 or 4 nights a week is more than enough to make a real difference. Let's talk about two dinner companions that truly belong in every senior's kitchen: walnuts and olive oil. Now, I know you might be thinking, these are fats. Should I really be eating more fat? And the answer, when it comes to these particular fats, is a very warm and enthusiastic yes. Walnuts are the only nut that contains a meaningful amount of plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, specifically ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. While it is not quite as potent as the omega-3s in fatty fish, it still contributes to reducing inflammation and supporting healthy blood vessel function. But walnuts bring something extra to the table as well. They are rich in the amino acid L-arginine, which your body uses to produce, you guessed it, nitric oxide. More nitric oxide means more relaxed, open blood vessels. Walnuts also contain antioxidants that protect the lining of your arteries from oxidative stress, which is one of the key drivers of arterial stiffness over time. A small handful of walnuts, about an ounce, which is roughly 14 walnut halves, as part of your dinner or as a side, is genuinely enough to start making a difference. You can toss them into a salad, crush them over roasted vegetables, or simply enjoy them alongside your meal. They are deeply satisfying, which means they can also help prevent that urge to snack on less helpful things later in the evening. And then there is olive oil, extra virgin olive oil specifically, which deserves its own moment of appreciation. The Mediterranean diet, which is one of the most extensively studied diets in the world for cardiovascular health, places olive oil at the center of almost every meal, and for good reason. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in oleocanthal, a natural compound with powerful anti-inflammatory properties. It is also high in monounsaturated fats that actively support healthy cholesterol levels and arterial flexibility. Using olive oil as your primary cooking fat at dinner, drizzling it over your vegetables, using it to saute your garlic and greens, finishing a dish with a small pour of good quality oil is one of the most delicious ways to protect your circulation that I can possibly think of. Together, walnuts and olive oil create a kind of protective layer around your cardiovascular system. They reduce inflammation, support healthy vessel walls, and help your body use all of the other circulation-boosting nutrients you are eating far more effectively. Now, I want to share something that tends to make people genuinely happy when they hear it, because one of the best things you can add to your dinner table for circulation is something that feels like an indulgence: dark chocolate and berries. Yes, really. Let's start with berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, all of them are absolutely loaded with compounds called flavonoids, and flavonoids have a direct, measurable effect on blood vessel health. They stimulate the production of nitric oxide, reduce oxidative stress in the arterial lining, and have been shown in multiple studies to meaningfully improve blood flow and lower blood pressure over time. Berries are also remarkably low in sugar compared to most fruits, making them an ideal choice for older adults who are watching their blood sugar alongside their heart health. A small bowl of mixed berries as a dessert after dinner, fresh in summer, frozen and thawed in winter, is one of the most powerful yet pleasurable circulation habits you can build. Frozen berries retain virtually all of their nutritional value, so please do not feel you need to buy fresh ones year-round. A bag of frozen mixed berries is affordable, convenient, and just as good for your body. And dark chocolate, the good kind, at least 70% cacao or higher, contains flavonols that are remarkably similar in their effects to those in berries. They improve nitric oxide availability, reduce blood pressure, and have been shown to improve circulation in the small blood vessels that reach your extremities, your hands, your feet, the tips of your fingers. A small square or two of good quality dark chocolate after dinner is not a guilty pleasure. It is quite genuinely medicine that happens to taste wonderful. The key with dark chocolate is keeping the portion small and choosing a high-quality option with minimal added sugar. 2 small squares is plenty. You do not need a whole bar to get the benefit. And in fact, The ritual of eating a small piece slowly and mindfully at the end of a good dinner is something many people find deeply satisfying in a way that actually reduces the urge to overeat. There are two more ingredients I want to make sure we talk about before we wrap up today, because leaving them out would feel almost like telling half a story. The first is turmeric, and the second is ginger. And together, these two ancient spices form what I like to think of as the quiet healers of your dinner table. Turmeric has been used in cooking and traditional medicine for thousands of years, particularly across South Asia and the Middle East. And modern science has spent decades trying to understand exactly why it has such a powerful effect on the human body. The answer comes down to a compound called curcumin, which is the active ingredient that gives turmeric its deep golden color. Curcumin is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory compounds ever studied. And when it comes to circulation, that matters enormously, because inflammation inside your blood vessels is one of the primary reasons blood flow becomes restricted as we age. Curcumin helps calm that inflammation directly, and it also supports the health of the endothelium, which is the thin layer of cells that lines the interior of all your blood vessels. When your endothelium is healthy, your vessels stay flexible and responsive. When it becomes inflamed or damaged, that is when circulation starts to suffer. The easiest way to bring turmeric into your dinner is simply to cook with it regularly. Add a teaspoon to soups, stews, roasted vegetables, or rice dishes. It has a warm, slightly earthy flavor that blends beautifully with garlic, onion, and olive oil. One important tip: always pair turmeric with a pinch of black pepper. This is not just a flavor suggestion. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which increases your body's absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. So turmeric and black pepper truly belong together, every single time. Ginger works alongside turmeric in a beautifully complementary way. It has its own anti-inflammatory properties, and it is particularly effective at improving circulation by warming the body and stimulating blood flow to the extremities, which is exactly what people with cold hands and feet need. Ginger also helps reduce the clumping of platelets in the blood, supporting smooth, free-flowing circulation throughout your entire system. Fresh ginger grated into a stir-fry, a soup, or even a warm evening drink is one of the simplest upgrades you can make to your dinner routine starting tonight. So now that we have walked through all of these remarkable foods, I want to take a moment to bring it all together. Because knowing each food individually is wonderful, but understanding how they work as a complete dinner is where the real magic happens. Picture this. You sit down to a dinner that starts with a simple salad of dark leafy greens, spinach or kale, dressed with extra virgin olive oil, a squeeze of lemon, and a small handful of crushed walnuts. The olive oil helps your body absorb the fat-soluble nutrients in the greens. The walnuts add their heart-healthy omega-3s and L-arginine. The greens themselves are flooding your system with magnesium, vitamin K, and natural nitrates. This is not just a salad. This is a cardiovascular event happening quietly and beautifully inside your body. Your main course is a piece of baked salmon, seasoned with turmeric, black pepper, garlic, and a generous drizzle of olive oil, served alongside roasted beets and a side of sautéed Swiss chard. Everything on that plate is working together. The salmon's omega-3s are reducing inflammation. The beets are producing nitric oxide and opening up your blood vessels. The garlic is doing its quiet work of dilating arteries and keeping your blood flowing smoothly. The turmeric and black pepper are calming inflammation at a cellular level. The Swiss chard is adding another wave of magnesium and nitrates to the mix. This meal is not complicated. It does not take hours to prepare. But the impact it has on your circulation, eaten regularly over weeks and months, is genuinely profound. And then, to close the evening on the most pleasant note possible, a small bowl of mixed berries, perhaps with a few squares of dark chocolate on the side, and a warm cup of ginger tea. Your blood vessels are relaxed. Your body has everything it needs to repair and restore itself overnight. And you have done something truly kind and generous for your own health.
Now, I want to be honest with you for a moment, because I think honesty is the most respectful thing I can offer. Changing what you eat every single night is not always easy, and nobody eats perfectly every day. Life gets busy. Some evenings you are tired. Some days the budget is tighter than others, and that is completely, entirely okay. What I want to encourage you to think about is not perfection, but progress. You do not need to completely overhaul your kitchen overnight. Start with one change. Maybe it is as simple as adding a handful of spinach to whatever you are already making for dinner tonight, or swapping your cooking oil to extra virgin olive oil, or picking up a bag of frozen berries this week and having them as your dessert a few evenings in a row. These small shifts, stacked on top of each other gradually over time, create real, lasting change in your body.
The other thing I want to mention is hydration, because it ties directly into circulation and is so often overlooked. Your blood is largely water. When you are even mildly dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and more sluggish, and circulation suffers. Making sure you drink enough water throughout the day and having a glass of water with your dinner rather than skipping it is one of the simplest things you can do to support everything else we have talked about today. Herbal teas in the evening, particularly ginger tea or hibiscus tea, also support circulation beautifully and are a wonderful way to wind down before bed. And finally, movement. Even gentle movement after dinner, like a slow 10-minute walk around the block, or simply standing and moving around your home, activates your calf muscles, which act like a secondary pump, pushing blood back up from your legs toward your heart. You do not need a gym or a rigorous exercise routine. A gentle evening walk, combined with the dinner we have been talking about, is a combination that is genuinely hard to beat for circulation health after 60.
So let's bring this full circle, because we have covered a lot of ground today, and I want you to leave feeling genuinely inspired rather than overwhelmed. We talked about beets and their incredible ability to produce nitric oxide and open up your blood vessels. We talked about fatty fish and the omega-3s that reduce inflammation and keep your arteries flexible. We talked about dark leafy greens and their generous supply of magnesium and vitamin K. We talked about garlic, that humble kitchen staple that has been quietly protecting hearts and arteries for thousands of years. We talked about walnuts and extra virgin olive oil and how these beautiful healthy fats form the foundation of one of the most cardiovascular protective diets in the world. We talked about berries and dark chocolate. Yes, dark chocolate, and the flavonoids that make them so remarkably good for your blood vessels. And we finished with turmeric and ginger, those ancient golden spices that calm inflammation and warm your circulation from the inside out. Every single one of these foods is real, accessible, affordable, and delicious. None of them require a prescription, a specialist, or a complicated plan. They simply require a little intention, a decision to care for your body with the same warmth and thoughtfulness that you would offer to someone you love.
And that is really what I hope you take away from today. Your body at 60, at 70, at 80, and beyond is still capable of incredible things. It still responds to good food. It still repairs itself. It still wants to feel well and move freely and carry you through the years ahead with energy and grace. All it needs is the right support, and that support begins beautifully and deliciously at the dinner table. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you already been eating any of these foods? Is there one that surprised you or one you are excited to try? Your experiences and thoughts genuinely mean so much, not just to me, but to everyone in this community who is on the same journey toward better health. Please share what is working for you. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps more people find this content and take these same steps toward better health. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do. We share new videos regularly on exactly these kinds of topics, practical, science-backed, and always created with you in mind. Here is to warm hands, light legs, clear minds, and a long and vibrant life. You deserve every bit of it. Take care of yourself, because you absolutely are worth it.